Hello and welcome to another Control-Delete tutorial. My name is Jason. Haven't posted a video in a little while because I had lost my system due to a pretty nasty virus, so I'm back up and running now, and hopefully I'll be able to get to a lot of the questions that you guys have been asking. A lot of really positive feedback, so I want to thank everybody for that. And today I had a message from, let's see, I had a message from a user on the box and edge modeling a character. I'm really going to botch your name. So the person had asked, "Great tutorial, thanks so much," and thank you for that. But would anyone please tell me how to insert the character images like that at the beginning? Thanks in advance. So yes, somebody will be able to. I'm going to be doing just that. I'm showing you how to bring in image references, because anytime you're going about modeling, image references, that's going to be your most important thing to collect, whether you're sketching, drawing, or scanning those in, or getting an image reference off the internet. So we're going to get ours off the internet because I figure that's where most of you will probably be doing this from. So first I'm going to just start by looking for character reference. So I'm just going to go ahead and type in character model sheet. We're just going to grab a simple one off of here to use. And I'm actually going to be using, like always, 3D Studio Max, but I'm also going to be using Adobe Photoshop. And it doesn't really matter what version you have. We're just going to, some sort of image software where you're able to crop images is what we're really going to want. So looking through these, I just want to kind of mention what I consider to be good and what I consider to be bad. And if somebody's drawn these on here and somehow you're seeing this and I say your image is bad, sorry, but you know, that's the truth. So looking at these, a lot of really good ones to start out with. What we're looking for, if we pulling these up, is that our characters' features stay relatively the same as they move across the reference. That's what I consider to be good. Finger placement's about the same, eyes, hair, things like that, all really good. References that are going to be hard to work from. Most of the time we want our characters to be in either a T or an A pose. T pose being the arms come straight out. An A pose is more down at like a 45-degree angle. So having a character that's posed like this one, it's not a bad drawing. The drawing's fine, and it's great character reference for someone who's illustrating. But for someone who's doing 3D modeling, which is what we're doing, you don't want to use this because the character's kind of shifted off to the side. If you're able to use this reference and redraw it, great. This is a bad reference. One, it's not a great drawing. The anatomy's broken. But some of the bad things here, the character's eyes are lower here than they are here. So as you can see, as this person drew them, the eyes come up, come back down. Not really great. Some of the other problems, feet are flat, and now feet are pointed downward. Now I realize that this person's trying to do perspective, but if we're using this for reference for modeling, this should be, the feet should be drawn, and the character should almost be drawn in an orthographic view where we don't have perspective. So here's a good representation of that. So we have the character's feet pointing at us, you know, flat. And as far as the drawing, it's fine. It's not a great drawing. It's not bad. I like the little details and stuff, but that's not important to what we're specifically talking about. So let's see. We're going to try as much as possible to keep from having any overlapping. Also, anime characters, if you're really into anime, modeling them from this sort of reference, not going to work well. One, you can't see the face very good in these, but typically anime is a style that looks better in 2D than it does for 3D reference. So what you want is something that you're able to see very well from all directions. I actually really like this piece. I've used this for some of my in-class tutorials that I've talked about in some classes. This one's really nice, but I want one that's also going to be relatively quick to kind of edit for the video. So this one's a 3D one. You know, working from 3D is great and everything, but it's going to be somewhat tricky. So anyway, I'm just going to go up and I'm going to grab, this one's pretty basic. And actually this will work really good. So it says who's done the model here in the website, so we have all that reference stuff in there. So what we're going to do is just view image, save image, and we're going to save it somewhere. So I'm going to just save it to my desktop for now. Typically, if I'm going to start a new model, I'll create a folder for just that model. So I'm just going to call this one basic model, whatever. And I will typically have two folders in here, one for modeling and one for references. This way I can just keep organized. References, and I'll just save that in there as is. Okay, so now we're going to go into Photoshop and open this up. So basic model, references, and we'll open up this reference. So if you don't have the rulers here, it's Control R is the shortcut for that. So I'm going to bring up these rulers. They're basically going to be my guide, and I'm going to drop the ruler just below the character's feet, and it's close enough to the character's head, so I'm just going to drag it to the edge of the page. The other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to try to find the center point of this character's front. So somewhere right between the eyes would be good. And I'm just kind of eyeballing this. There we go. And I'm going to do the same thing with the side. Whoops. With the side here. And I'm just kind of going for the center of the head. Right there. And then the same idea with the back view, in case you happen to get a back view. So I'm going to line that up with the weird butt that he's got there. So I'm just kind of splitting this off a little bit. I'm going to move that over just a little bit. Didn't get as centered as I wanted. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select just anywhere in between the two guides. It's automatically going to snap to them, and I'm going to drag another one to the center of this, and it will automatically snap right there to the center of that selection. I'm going to hit Control D to deselect. So the reason I've done that is now I've got a really good center point of my character. So what I can do is I can hold the Alt key. I'm in my Windows selection box, and I'm going to select from here. And if I hold Alt, what's going to happen is I can drag out in all directions. Now it's automatically going to snap to the top and bottom because I've already centered to those. And then I'm going to drag this out to where I can see the character's hands. Actually, let's do something else real quick before we do this. One of the things that's going to happen is if I have this reference and I bring it into 3D Studio Max, anytime I've made any sort of object in Max and I'm viewing it, if I have it selected, my wireframe shows up bright white. So this can sometimes make it difficult while modeling to see our wireframe behind here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new layer, doesn't matter what I name it, and I'm going to select a color. Either select the color you enjoy viewing for long periods of time. I'm going to select just a kind of a medium, mid desaturated blue color. I'm going to paste that in over top, and not color, multiply, I think. Yeah. So I'm going to multiply this just so I have this kind of blue color over top of here, and that'll make it so any white that shows up over top of this in Max for the wireframe is either going to be over something kind of blue or something kind of black. So you definitely want to make it something that's easy on the eyes. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to my selection, and I'm going to hold Alt, and again I'm going to select just so I make sure I get the entire character in here. I'm going to go to Image, Crop, File, Save As, and I'm going to save as the JPEG file type, which is going to be fine. And this is Caden character, so I'll go ahead and keep the person's name in there just so I have it in case I need it for reference later. So I'm going to get rid of that part. I'm going to go to the beginning here, and I'm going to type in front just so I have the name, and I'll save that JPEG and just make sure that the file size is as large as it can be. Now I'm going to hit Control-Alt-Z to step back to where I was. So I'm going to stay in the selection mode, and I'm going to hold Shift and drag this over. And what's going to happen is this is going to snap to the center mark there. I'm going to go to Image, Crop, and this is going to be my side view. So I'm going to go to File, Save As, JPEG. I'm going to select my previous name just so I keep my naming style consistent here. Type inside, and I'll save that. And while I'm at it, I'm going to go to Image, Rotation, Flip horizontally to get my other side. This isn't super important, but I'm doing it so if some people find it hard to use one image for the left and right side, this will allow me to kind of have two different ones to choose from. So I'll just call this one side 2. Could call it left or right, but this will be fine. Okay. Now I'm going to undo back to here, and I'm going to take this again, hold Shift, drag it over, and it's going to snap around this character as well. It's going to snap to the middle. And the reason I started with the window selection on this character is because I know from the side view they're going to be more narrow. And the other thing is, I know I had a lot of dead space around the edge of that image, but I did that so all of my images are exactly the same size, so that makes it a lot easier for me. So I'm going to go to go away. Crop, File, Save As, and this will be another JPEG. And I'll save this as the back. Caden got back. That was funny. It's funny, right? Back. Alright. Save, maximum size. It's not going to matter too much, but so we're basically done in Photoshop for now. So I'm just going to minimize this and come back into 3D Studio Max, and I'm going to go into my top view. In my top view, I'm going to create a plane. I want my plane's length segments to be 1 and my width segments to also be 1. I'm working in centimeters unit scale. Doesn't matter what unit scale you use. One thing that is important though is to take note of our aspect ratio of our image. So if I go to image size, right now it tells us that our width is 534 and our height is 88.4. This is really important because we want to keep this aspect ratio. Now these numbers, a character being 884 pixels or 884 units tall or centimeters tall in 3D Studio Max, it's going to be quite a large character. I like to stick to about 100 centimeters tall. I know that's not like real world scale, but it makes it easy for scaling that character up to where I need them to be if they're close to 100. So under my image size, I want to make sure that this character is pretty close to kind of close to the size that it is, so I don't get any weird sort of stretching, but I also want to make sure that I can make it close to easily to 100. So what I'm going to do is change my height here to 1000, and I need to make sure that I actually lock my aspect ratio here, so I'm going to change that again to 1000. Now I don't go to 100 because that's going to make my image really tiny, and I don't want that. But I'm just going to go to 1000. Whenever I go into max, if I was going to make my image height 100, which means I put a decimal there, I also need to put a decimal there. There's a little bit of weird math for you. So my image reference plane is going to be, in this case, 60.4 by 100. I don't need to hit OK, but I just need that as far as for math reasons. Or I can hit OK just so I can save the image to be that size. It's not going to make a lot of difference in max as much as I just need to keep my aspect ratio the same. So again, 100 by 60.4. So I'm going to come back here. I'm going to draw out my plane. And actually, if you want, what you can do is keyboard entry your dimensions in. So for us, our length is going to be our height. So that's going to be 100. And our width is going to be 60.4. And if I hit create, I get my plane here. So I'm going to hit P to go into perspective, and so we can look at that. Hit F3 so I can get my shaded view to show up. So I'm going to name this front reference. And since it's my front, I'm going to turn on rotate. I'm going to turn on my angle snap toggle so that my rotation here snaps to every 5 degrees, and I'm going to change that to 90. So the reason I did that is if I hit F, which is my front view, I can see my image. If I were to hit F and I saw the side of my image, say I'm in my left view right now, but just for instance, then I would know that I need to rotate this in order to see it. So that's why I did this in the top view and I created it. So if I go to the front, I see this. I'm also going to drag this up so that my character's feet, when they show up, are going to be on my 0, on my ground plane basically here. So I've got that. Now, I don't want these panels to get in the way. So typically a polygon that we have is only actually one-sided. If I hit render on this, there, we can see that my panel is shaded on one side, and on the other side it's actually transparent. We don't see it. And that's what's referred to as a back face. So we're going to turn that off. So I'm going to go to Object Properties. So I just right click Object Properties, and I'm going to click Back Face Cull, and I'm going to hit OK. Cull means to not draw. So on one side I can see, the other side I can't see. So now what I'm going to do is take this image reference, and I'm just going to move it away from where a character is going to be, which is along the 0, 0, 0. If you've seen any of my other reference videos where I have images in there, I always model around the origin here. So I've moved that out of the way. So now I know that my other images are all the same size as this one. So I've cropped them in such a way that they're all going to be this size. So now I can hold Shift and rotate 90 degrees along the Z direction, and I'm going to call this I'll call it left. I think that'll be our left reference. I'm going to go to move, and I'm going to move this in the Y to 0. So I'm just going to double click here and hit 0. And that'll move it so it'll line up in the middle there. And now I'm going to just move it off to the side here, like that. And now what I'm also going to do is take this, I'm going to hold Shift, and I'm going to rotate this 180 degrees. And in this case, in my X direction, I'm just going to type in negative. So now I've got my other view. And we'll call that one right. Okay, last one I need is my back view, so I'll select my front, I'll hold Shift, I'll rotate along my Z direction, and 180 degrees, and I'll call this back. Now it may seem weird at first that the back view is going to be in front of the character and the front view is going to be behind the character. But the reason this makes sense is if I hit F and my character's here, if I hit F, my camera's going to be looking at this panel here. If I hit the back view, I'm actually going to be seeing the one that's selected here, which is displaying the back. That's why I was thinking about the naming of these. I think this one will be left and this one will be right. I always get confused on the naming there. So now we're going to go into the material editor so we can get these to show up. So what I'm going to do is open up the material editor. There's actually two types of views for the material editor. There's the compact material editor and the Slate material editor. I'm going to do this in the Slate material editor and hope it helps make sense. Slate is also the newer version of the material editor. So when I open that up, this is what I end up seeing. So at the top I've got types of materials, and then I have types of maps. Materials are like the physical properties of the type of material that it is. The map is what the digital image is that's applied to it, so that we can see, you know, we can see some sort of texture on it. So we're just going to use standard because that's very basic. And we have all of these slots that we can fill up here. I'm going to double click on this to make it active here on the side. So our diffuse slot is the only one we really need to worry about, diffuse. So I'm just going to drag that over, and the type of image map that we want is going to be a bitmap. Bitmap just means basically that it's some sort of image or texture that we can use. So I'm going to go to the desktop, basic model, references, and I'm going to pick my front view. And I'm going to take this front view and drag it into my diffuse. And with this active, I'm going to turn on Show Shaded Material in Viewport. That way, whenever this is applied to my image plane, if I shrink this down here so we can see, this is my front view. I know that because I named it Front Reference. I'm just going to drag this off to the side. There's two ways we can apply this to here. While it's active, we can do Assign Material to Selection, or we can drag this node and drag it onto our front reference. And as you can see, when we do that, we end up seeing our image there. So now I'm going to go back into the Slate Material Editor. I'm going to do a window selection by clicking and dragging. I'm going to hold Shift, and basically this will be one of my side views. We'll say left. I'm going to hold Shift again. This will be my right. I'm going to hold Shift and drag again, and this will be my back. Now I could name all of these, which would be nice and organized, but just for the demo purpose, I'm not going to go through and do that. But it is a good idea to kind of get in the habit of naming your materials. So I'm going to double click on my duplicate of my front view, and I'm going to change my front to, say, my let's say that's left. I think that'll be left. Do the same, double click to activate it, click the browse here for the bitmap to the other side, and then same idea with the back. And now we're going to apply all this. And so what makes this nice and easy is I've got my bitmap here. So I'm going to take that, click and drag to make sure this one's activated. Well, hold on. There we go. And then I'll go to my other one that's right here. Double click, make sure it's set up to show shaded in viewport. I'm going to assign to the selection. Double click to activate, show shaded material in viewport, assign to selection. And that's basically it for setting up your reference. And if you've done all the steps here, you should be able to easily see through the other sides. And what I want to check is if I hit the front view, I see the front. If I hit L for the left view, I'm going to see his right side, but it's a left side view. I'm going to hit V to bring up my other views here, go to back, and V again to go to right. And what's important is the way you want this to look is I want my front view, which is looking forward. My one side view should be looking forward towards the back, and my other side view should be looking forward towards the back. So these should all be generally looking all in the same location. Now the last thing that we can do is I'm going to hold Control and I'm going to select all of my 4 reference objects. I'm going to right click, go back into Object Properties, and now I'm going to freeze these objects, basically making them inactive. This will allow me to not select them. I just have to make sure to turn off Show Frozen in Gray. So I'm going to shut that off. I'm going to hit OK. Now what this means is while I'm working, I can't accidentally select these, which is really good. And that's basically it. That's how you set up any reference. If you do it this way, if you learn to make your aspect ratios all the same image size, it really makes it a lot easier. Do you have to do that? No. But like I said, it makes it easy. And what makes it really easy about that is that I know everything is going to line up in all views. So for instance, let's just say I have a sphere here, and this is going to be the character's head. And the reason I'm seeing that shadow is I'm in realistic view. Let's turn that off. Okay, this is the character's head. If I hit the front view, it lines up with the head. Squish this just so we can see it. And if I go to the back view, so press V to bring up my views, back, it lines up. And if I go to my right, it lines up. That's why we want to do this and follow this way. And what's nice is anything that I was working on there, if I go into the line tools and if I'm working with spline modeling, the splines are going to show up when selected white, which allows me to see them very easily over top of the blue and the black. And that basically concludes it for this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it very informative. If you have any other questions, please leave me a comment, and please like and subscribe if you've found any of these tutorials to be very helpful. Share them with people that you think might need them or enjoy them, you know, leave a comment if you have other things that you want to see how to have that done. So thanks for watching.